Wow, we got Gregor Robertson getting destroyed in the House of Commons today. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David. Today, the Conservatives have dug up Gregor Robertson's investments. The guy is rich. He's very rich. He has a lot of properties, which means there's a massive conflict of interest because he doesn't want to lower the price of real estate. We've got the Conservatives winning their Opposition Day motion, as well as Donald Trump has left the G7. That's right. Things are heating up in Iran. Let's jump into this. We've got some interesting updates from the G7. First off, just take a look at this. Mark Carney and how he walks in front of his wife. He doesn't walk beside her.
Honorable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, and Mrs. Diana Fox Carney. Le très honorable Mark Carney, Premier ministre du Canada, et Madame Diana.
He did have her go in front of him there, but I mean, this always happens. He's always walking in front of her.
Fox Carney.
What is he doing? This guy's so weird. What is this? And here he is kissing Trump's butt once again.
Nostalgia isn't a strategy. We have to change with the times and to build a better world. And some of you, such as you, Mr. President, have anticipated these massive changes and are taking bold measures to address them. All of us around this table are reinforcing our militaries and security services for the new world. But we all know that there can be no security without economic prosperity and no prosperity without resilience. And in a world where shocks flow across the borders, that resilience comes from cooperation around that starts around they found.
Nice bedtime story, man. Table Salt saying he's not opposed to this strategy of flattery, but he totally lied to Canadian public to get elected. Exactly. That's what I've been saying too. You kind of have to do this strategy with Trump, but the fact that Mark Carney said everything's over, he's going to be elbows up, he's going to fight back, blah, 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 and he's doing the exact opposite. He's stealing conservative policies and implementing them. How he's acting is the exact opposite of his platform.
Elbows up. That's right. There should be no doubt.
Is so lame. And just like that, after one day, Donald Trump has left the G7 because of everything that's happening in Israel and Iran. It seems very much likely that the United States is going to be getting involved in that conflict. Next up, we have this absolute bombshell. Housing Minister Gregor Robertson attempted to hide $10.85 million in property investments from questioning in House of Commons. I have that clip. Conservative Scott Davidson here grilling Gregor Robertson on exactly this.
How many investment properties does the minister own?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Investment is secondary to people living in homes. We need to build homes that people live in, not invest in.
That's not an answer. I like that. I already know he's not going to answer it. It allows me to analyze his facial expressions here for the future. This guy's really well trained, like Justin Trudeau, except he doesn't have that childish flair that Trudeau had, that arrogant, pompous, juvenile attitude. He's very buttoned up like Trudeau, but he minus that other aspect.
Thank you, Mr.
So you can see right away, he's looking down, his eyes are scanning left to right.
Chair. Investment is...
Little furrow of the brow, little head shake there too. These are subtle cues you can't control. That's head shakes. I don't want to answer this question.
For you, Mr. Chair, he's looking for the number. How many investment properties does this Minister of Housing own?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Chair, I think the focus here needs to be on building homes for people to live in, not building homes for investors to own.
So you notice again, he keeps looking down. That's, the textbook sign if someone doesn't want to answer a question or they got something to hide.
Honourable Member.
How many rental units does this Minister of Housing own?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here to answer questions.
That little laugh there means he's probably landlord.
On behalf of my department for the investment in affordable housing across Canada and infrastructure and housing.
We have a right to know. He's in charge of the housing portfolio. We need to know if there's a conflict of interest, which we already know to be true. So the Breaker.news having this one. First, a little recap on Gregor Robertson's situation here. Gregor Robertson elected in 2008 as the Vancouver mayor. He promised to end street homelessness by 2015. Former organic juice company owner and NDP MLA Robertson was re-elected twice in 2011 and 2014, but did not run for a fourth term. Voters became grumpy after homelessness increased, a street candy epidemic raged, and real estate prices prices skyrocketed. So I lived in Vancouver during this time. I watched this happen. Not only that, I lived in West Hastings back in 2003 when it was the worst area of crime in Canada. There was needle junkies that would scare us when we would try to go into school. I went to Vancouver Film School, and they would scare us with an empty needle, and we'd have to give up our backpack, that they would mug us at the door. Basically every day someone was getting mugged. So the fact that it got worse from that situation says something. Goes on to say Robertson cultivated close ties with China while in office and left his wife in 2014 for a singer whose mother was a government official in China. Years earlier in 2010, Canadian Security Intelligence Service Director Richard Fadden sounded the alarm about foreign interference on the West Coast. In 2011, Robertson skipped the Bank of Canada Governor Carney's luncheon speech to the Vancouver Board of Trade, where Carney warned of a clash between greed-fueled speculators and investors and fearful citizens in search of affordable housing. This is funny because Mark Carney knows all that dirty money from China. This is gangster money that they bring into Canada to clean it, to wash it through our housing system. He knows about that. Clearly, during a 2.5-year span, Robertson only sent 2 letters to the senior federal and BC politicians seeking action on property flipping and tax evasion in Vancouver's real estate market. None of these letters or replies mentioned money laundering, nor did they cite Chinese foreign investment as the biggest market influencer. Robertson's pet project was the environment. He flew around the world to promote the Greenest City 2020 initiative. Many conferences involved former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who became Robertson's post-2018 patron at the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. Wasn't that funny? If we take a look at the board here, Mark Carney, all these ones in light red here are all the boards he sat on, and I have the dates on here, at least the information I have. And what's this at the top here? It's Bloomberg. That's right. Mark Carney sat on the board of Bloomberg. He was the chair of board of directors from August 2023 to January 2025. These guys are all connected. That's why he brought in Gregor Robertson. Bloomberg became Robertson's post-2018 patron at the Global Covenant Mayors of Climate and Energy. These guys are all connected. Expense reports analyzed by The Breaker from 2009, Robertson's first full year in office, through 2017, his last full year in office, shows he spent 331 days traveling and visiting other cities for a cost to taxpayers of $126,000. So it goes on to talk about Vancouver Vision. This is the party that Gregor Robertson led. It says a bittersweet sayonara for a party whose legacy is evident in the city's modern luxury condo skyscrapers in Canada's worst ghetto, the downtown east side. That just gives us a little background on how corrupt and wrapped up these guys are. But the bombshell news coming out here today is from the Breaker News here. Carney Housing Minister has investments in at least 3 properties. BC property records obtained by the Breaker.news show that Robertson has an interest in the $5.6 million assessed Levitt Lake in Squamish, a 16.8 acre property held by Levitt Camps Limited. The property contains a 1997 built 2-story house with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal Housing Minister says he doesn't want house prices to go down. While everyday Canadians are priced out of a home, he says he's focused on protecting people's assets. Well, now we know why. From his Vancouver penthouse, this minister is sitting atop a personal real estate empire worth over $10 million, including luxury properties in Tofino, Squamish, and English Bay. Why is it the only thing getting built under this housing minister is his personal fortune?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'll caution the member on using inaccurate facts. I will be following all the rules, even before they are required, and these are some of the rules that the Conservatives themselves brought in under Prime Minister Harper. We will work with the Office of the Ethics Commissioner to ensure transparency, and I will continue to demonstrate integrity in my role as Minister. My focus is on getting more affordable housing built across Canada.
Don't worry, Gregor, we got transparency and it wasn't from you. Separately, a company Robertson registered in 2020 called 11 Otters Investments, Inc. is listed as the owner of a $2.85 million assessed 11-acre property on the Pacific Rim Highway near Cox Bay in Tofino. Contains a 2024 built 1-story semi-custom house with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Gregor Robertson has a $2.8 million house in Cox Bay. This is one of the nicest spots in Canada. This is Tofino up here. I live just an hour from here. My ex-wife used to run a notary office. I used to balance her books. We used to do $10 to $12 million a month through her office. I was able to find his property in 3 minutes without a title search. I'm not going to show the exact address, but as the article says, Cox Bay, beautiful Cox Bay. If anyone hasn't been to Cox Bay, this is Cox Bay. This is Gregor Robertson's house right here. So it's not right on the water. It's pretty darn close. Here's his property, assessed $2.8 million, the land for $1.9 million, the building $900,000, built in 2024, 11 acres. This is most definitely Gregor Robertson's property. If anyone's wondering how I found this, I use a BC assessment website. You can just look properties right on here and you can see these are different parcels. I simply use my sniffer, and after looking at dozens and dozens of these, I was able to pick it out on the second guess. So if you were to click on, for example, something random like this, you would see here this is worth $1.8 million. You can look at the value of this. It's just a piece of land. This is not his property. This is just an example one. But that's just two examples. The $5.6 million Levitt Lake Squamish residence, 16 acres. And then as well as the one I just showed you, $2.8 million one right on the ocean there in the nicest spot in Canada in Tofino. Robertson also has a penthouse in English Bay. Also incredibly gorgeous. I used to live in English Bay back in 2008. His penthouse is assessed at $2.4 million. He also does not live in his riding that he ran for, Vancouver, Fraser View, South Burnaby. So as you've seen, Gregor Robertson, a complete liar. Nothing about any of the facts that the Conservatives brought up were untrue.
The honourable member for Newt-Tecumseh, Gwillimbury.
Liberals are just like Adams. They make up everything. More Canadians than ever are watching the dream of homeownership slip further out of reach. But this housing minister isn't focused on solving the housing crisis because he's profiting from it. The average home in Canada now costs $680,000, $1.2 million in Vancouver. Rents and mortgages doubled, housing starts are down. So why is the minister more interested in protecting his real estate empire than ensuring Canadians can afford a home?
The honourable government house leader.
Oh. Yeah, Gregor Robertson not answering. McKinnon's there to save him. What is this face?
Settle down.
The Minister of Housing, indeed all ministers and members of this House, live under some of the most stringent ethical requirements that require disclosure and
Stringent? These guys have stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from us. There's no stringent ethical requirements. Justin Trudeau violated ethics laws multiple times. Not only did he not get thrown out of power, he didn't get put in jail where he belongs.
transparency. As that member knows very well, the Minister of Housing is obviously complying with all of those rules, will continue to do so, and at the same time, he will continue working on providing housing opportunities for Canadians. That's why he's there. That's what he's going to do.
He's not going to provide anything, and we all know it. They're just keeping those real estate values high. Justin Trudeau has his own real estate development company. These guys are all a bunch of cronies serving their own interests.
Excuse us if we don't take the party that's been known for serial ethical lawbreaking at their word when the Minister of Housing, who said that house prices don't need to come down, is sitting in a $2 million penthouse on a multi-million-dollar real estate fortune while he's telling Canadians that they're okay to just stay in their parents' basements. Wow. Canadians want to know why this minister wasn't transparent, didn't answer the question in committee of the whole, didn't answer the question when the member previously asked, and we don't think that he answered it honestly when he gave an answer to the ethics commissioner. Why won't this minister come clean and tell Canadians the truth?
The honourable government house leader.
Speaker, the minister quite literally just gave the answer on the floor of this House. That member knows, as do his colleagues, that we live under ethical guidelines that are among
Gregor Robertson just said the Conservatives mean to make sure they get their facts straight. We have the facts straight. Gregor is lying to Canadians. He should be fined $1,000. Boom.
the most stringent in the world. They govern all the members of this House. That minister is in full compliance with all of the rules. That member knows better.
He's in compliance with his multi-million-dollar real estate empire. That's the only thing he's in compliance with while people are living in tent cities. This minister has said the housing market is working just fine. This from a real estate tycoon. While he has a $2.4 million penthouse in Vancouver, a $5.6 million lakefront property, and a $3 million estate in Tofino. You think housing prices are going to go down? No way. It's not in his financial interest for them to go down. How can anyone believe this minister will do anything for housing when it's in his vested interest to keep his real estate portfolio high and Canadians intense?
Yeah, I love this. I feel like he's just channeling what I'm feeling. Just blast Gregor on his obvious conflict of interest. He's still hiding. Look at this.
honorable
Minister is literally spending day and night, 7 days a week at creating opportunities in housing for Canadians, while at the
Oh, please. He's not doing anything. He's collecting a big paycheck. You guys aren't doing nothing.
same time being in full compliance with the strictest ethical obligations faced by public office holders in the world, Mr. Speaker. You know that. Those members know that. We are in full compliance. That will continue to be the case.
So next up, we have what seems to be a wild Freudian slip here. Listen to what Gregor says. What do you hear?
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' own housing agency's latest numbers on housing starts are out, and they are bad, particularly in cities that received money from their Housing Accelerator Fund. For example, Vancouver, they got 115 million. Starts are down 10%. Kelowna got 31.5 million. Starts are down 33%. On May 13th, the latest housing minister claimed that he wanted to build on the housing successes of the last few years. What success? When will the Liberals learn that bureaucrats don't actually build houses?
As the member opposite will know, there are monthly fluctuations to the housing starts.
What did you just say?
As the member opposite will know, there are monthly fluctuations to the housing starts across Canada. That's right. And there's really good
Is Gregor feeling the heat in the House of Commons? A little frustration came out through a Freudian slip?
news in the CMHC report, Mr. Speaker. We are on an annual pace of almost 280,000 housing starts this year, which is almost a record.
No, it doesn't just stop there. Hamilton got 93.5 million. Housing starts there are down 50%. Toronto got 471 million. They're down 58% there.
Toronto got $471 million to build more houses, and their housing starts are down by 58%. Somebody needs to be fired immediately. The government needs to be fired. Somebody in Toronto needs to be fired. Every one of these cities are getting money, and they're not delivering more houses.
Guelph got $21.4 million, and housing starts there are down over a whopping 78%.
Whoa.
Yet the Liberal plan is to continue spending on city bureaucracies, and now they want to build a third federal housing bureaucracy. When will this government learn that repeating their same mistakes and expecting a different result is not going to solve what is quickly becoming a housing catastrophe?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, there's no doubt that we have challenges with housing across the country on affordability. The good news is that we are seeing near record level housing starts this year. You can cherry pick month to month stats. This year, 280,000 starts is the pace that we're on right now, and we need to go farther and faster. That's why we're delivering on development cost charge reductions that will bring down the cost of housing, Mr. Speaker.
Is that because there's fluctuations? We got breaking news here. Conservative motion calling for the government to get Canadians money back from GC Strategies and banning them within 100 days, as well as banning Christian Firth and Darren Anthony from ever getting government contracts again, whether it's this company or another company.
Was paid $64 million from the Liberal government, and in many cases there was no proof that any work was completed. The House call on the government to A, get taxpayers their money back within 100 days of the adoption of this motion, and B, impose a lifetime contracting ban on GC Strategies, Inc., any of its subsidiaries, its founders, Christian Firth and Darren Anthony, and any other entities with which those individuals are affiliated.
So they vote on this. This is the results here with 172 yay, 165 nay. So this motion passed. Not a single Liberal voted in favor. No kidding. They wanted GC Strategies to steal that money. We got Michael Barrett talking about this today.
This motion was about the $64 million in the Arrive scam, which the Auditor General determined was a project where many cases, no proof that the work that was paid for by taxpayers was done, that security clearances weren't in place where they needed to be in place. The government initially, the Liberals, voted against having the Auditor General even investigate.
No security checks in place, no value for money, proof of them not even doing anything. This is theft. Theft of taxpayers' money, millions of dollars. They should be in jail. We all know if any of the taxpayers got stiff with this fraud would be this two-tier justice is really something. Yeah, they should be in jail for this. Why are they not in jail? If Canadians did this, we'd be in jail.